I mean, I think that one of the most unnerving things that could ever be uttered to a person who suffered from childhood abuse or childhood trauma of any type is to look at them and say, "Oh, well, you turned out okay," as if you somehow have to justify the abuse that was dished out to them, especially when that phrase is said to the abused person by the abuser. Oh my God. Most of us have been trained at an early age to revere our parents and guardians as forces that should be reckoned with, which in turn leaves a lot of room for abuse to occur and for that same abuse to be ignored: physical, mental, financial, emotional, whatever. And as we get older and reach our adulthood and have our own children, a lot of us have made the conscious decision to not be the terrifying force in our own children's lives that our parents and guardians were to us. We choose not to make excuses for the way in which we were treated when we were younger, even if we are fully aware of the fact that maybe our parents just didn't know any other way to be good parents. They were just simply doing what was done to them and following whatever guidelines that they were taught when they were children. But just because you understand this doesn't mean you have to make excuses for the behavior. You are allowed to call it exactly what it is, which is abuse, without passing judgment onto the offender. What I'm not going to accept is said offender having any understanding as to how they made their children feel less than, but brushing it off by telling them that the abuse that they dished out somehow contributed to their current success, because no, it did not. If anything, it was a major hindrance to their lives. You don't get to go around telling people that they should be grateful for the abuse that you caused because it made them who they are today. Because this is just not true. I don't care how you put it or how you try to justify it, it's not true at all. I would have always turned out to be a success. I just would have taken a different path to get there. Maybe the path would have been a lot easier because I didn't have all the hurdles to jump over. Or maybe the path would have been longer because I wasn't as determined to get out of the abusive situation. It whatever it is, if you are destined for success or motivated to be successful, you're going to be successful with or without the abuse that was given to you. Telling someone that they should be grateful because the abuse made them strong in some sort of way. No, the abuse isn't what makes people strong. Surviving the abuse is what makes them strong. The abused individual could have just as easily fallen to pieces because of the things that they had to go through. And it would not have been their fault if they did. Plenty of people, especially children, do not have the mental capacity to continuously suffer abuse after abuse and come out strong on the other side. The self inflicted harm rates are a very clear indication of this. It is quite literally a toss of the coin and not moral judgment. You can either be strong willed and survive the abuse, or you won't. I mean, think about it. Are we passing judgment or shaking fingers at those who don't survive the abuse? Children aren't asking for harm, and yet we still judge their strength based on how they react to the harm that's being forced upon them. What I find even worse than being told that my abuse made me is being told that I should forgive and forget, or mm, to get over it. Here's the thing: I'm not Christ. So sacrificing myself for the sins of others is nowhere near my to do list. While a lot of us may believe that granting forgiveness is more geared towards the mental health, of the abused person and not the abuser, you also have to understand that I don't have to forgive you. Being granted forgiveness is not a requirement. Maybe it will help my mental health. Maybe it won't. If I give you the grace of my forgiveness, then be appreciative of it. But it should not be expected that I'm just going to automatically forgive you for something. I don't care how sorry you may be for causing the harm and trauma in the lives of others, they are not obligated to grace you with their forgiveness. Your abuse was not the catalyst of their success, and you don't get to take ownership of their success because they managed to overcome any of the harm that you caused to them. Abuse has never been the thing that made people great. It is a stumbling block that slowed down the process of them becoming great. The many years and monetary aspects of therapy would have been of greater use if they were used to invest in the future and not having to be put towards healing from trauma and harm that was caused by other people. We do not need to show gratitude for our abuse. It is not something that we need to be thankful for. And we do not need to make excuses or justify the behaviors of our abusers just to make them feel better about themselves. If I want to go no contact with someone who's caused me mental or physical pain, then I'm going to do so. And how I'm connected to that person has zero bearing on that decision. One of the things that I see a lot of is when adult children go no contact with their parents. And people are saying, oh, well, you only have one mom, you only have one dad, you need to let it go, get over it. But no one ever goes to that parent and says, well, hey, your kid only has one mom, your kid only has one dad. So why are you not doing whatever you can so that your adult children won't cut you off? We always put the burden of the relationships on the people who are being harmed instead of putting it onto the people who are doing the harm and letting them know that their children only have one of you. So why are you causing so much damage to this relationship and making them want to run away from you? I've always found it so odd that we're quick to blame the victim for protecting themselves instead of confronting those who are causing the actual harm. We justify it and make excuses for it, then tell the victims that they need to be happy about their abuse because it made you better, it made you stronger. No, we're not doing that anymore because no one has to be grateful for the hurt that was caused to them. Be grateful for yourself. You built yourself. I'm successful because I did what I needed to do to become successful. You don't get to lay claim on any part of someone's success because you hurt them. But what you are welcome to do is take accountability and take the blame for all of the trauma that you caused and all of the stumbling blocks that you've created in order to attempt, be it consciously or unconsciously, to rip someone else's life apart.